welcome back to video number 2. Today we're going to talk about the posture, how to lift the spine so you're not compressing it. You need to learn to decompress the spine by sitting up tall, and we call it lifting of the spine. Then we're going to do some exercise maintaining that lift of the spine to increase range of motion for your neck, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and your wrists. That way we maintain healthy spine and joint. So let's begin with our posture. I'm going to sit up nice and tall with the feet. You want the feet to be about hip width apart. If you're not sure what that is, think of ballet, first position where you turn your feet out and then bring your heel out. Then you want to make sure your knees, the middle of your kneecap is in line with your second and third toes, so your knees not flaring out or buckling in. They're like railroad tracks. Third, you want to make sure that your feet is equally on the ground. You're not collapsing your arches, so you're maintaining that tripod. Think of that foot underneath 1, 2, and 3. 2 point in the front, 1 on the heel. Even amount of pressure on each foot, the tripod. Then our sit bone is on the chair. We're not collapsing back and on our tailbone, and we're not overarching your back. So we're maintaining that neutral spine. And then the shoulders back, the shoulders down, and the head is retracted back and level. So to get a real good feeling of what lifting of the spine feels like, grab your chair, hook your fingers onto that chair, and then lift your spine up like there's a string tied to your top of your head, and it's going to pull it up towards the ceiling. You're going to feel that space of your vertebra from your neck down to your tailbone. And the tendency is we want to arch the back. So try to get back on that sit bone and stack that rib cage on top of your pelvis, and keeping that shoulder back. And if this is uncomfortable for you, or if you're not sure, let me show you in a side view. Sitting. So the tendency is when we lift up, we tend to arch the back. So I want you to think about pulling that rib cage back into alignment where it's sitting on top of the pelvis and not in front of the pelvis, so you're not stressing your lower back and arching the lower back. So you're really just bringing that rib cage back, and you'll be on your sit bone more. So this is the position you want to be at. So hooking your fingers onto the chair really helps give that feeling of lifting of the spine. Your shoulders are relaxed. And you want to hold that position. So ideally, the goal is to be strong enough in maintaining core and good alignment that we can take the fingers off the chair without collapsing into it, and still know how to lift that spine without overarching. And eventually the goal is to really challenge it more by bringing the arms over your head and pushing up towards the ceiling, and in creating a even deeper, longer lift of the spine. Okay, so now let's do some exercises for your neck. You're gonna hook your fingers again, lifting that spine, making sure your rib cage is stacked on top of your pelvis. Everything else, the knee, the feet, all corrected. And from there, you're just gonna turn your head to one side, look behind you for neck rotation, and come back to center and to the opposite side. And we're just gonna do 3 reps, on each side. Try that again. Rotate and feel the rotation of your neck, and then come back and the opposite side. And the whole time you're still breathing to your diaphragm that you learned about on the first video. And rotate, back to center, and rotate. We need this when we're driving, or if someone calling your name and you're turning your head to look who's behind you. This is very important to have that rotation in the neck. The next exercise for the neck would be side bend. So you're basically keeping your head retracted and dropping that ear onto that shoulder without your head going forward. Retract the head back It's sitting on a shelf. You should be feeling and communicating with those muscles from the earlobe down to your shoulder. And you're still hooking your fingers onto the chair, so you're not doing this or dipping over. Okay? Keeping that shoulder level, and gently come back and do the opposite side. And always be mindful and keep awareness of symmetry on your left and right side. Because it's symmetry that's causing injuries to our body, because one side can and the other side can't. And when that happens, we tend to forget about our ability, and that's how we get injured. We move real quick and the body you strain your neck. It's very common, you hear that all the time. I pull a neck muscle and come back to center. Because if both sides can't move, your body will slow you down. It's when one side can't move and one side can that we get injured real quickly. Okay. Try it again. Drop the ear onto your shoulder. Again, feeling the stress, the stretch on the side of the neck. And again, we're breathing, we're lifting the spine. And for a lot of people who's doing this right now, it might be you, it's a lot to think about. Keeping the feet on that tripod, knees in line with second and third toe, sitting on the sit bone, lifting up the spine, stacking the rib cage, keeping the head retracted. Okay, one more time. And still breathe. And back to center, and last time. Again, notice is one side tighter than the other, because we have these habits that we do repetitively throughout the day. Maybe listening to the phone, or just leaning on one side, playing with the phone. So all those little habits that we do throughout the day adds up, and that causes imbalances. And imbalances of symmetry especially will cause injury. Next, we're going to do is for the front of the neck and the back of the neck. So all day long we're looking down, so we need to bring the head back slowly and stretch. So besides stretching, and then we bring the chin down, besides stretching, we are doing movement, because muscle have to go forward to bring the head forward, and muscle gotta work to bring it back. So there is strength involved along with flexibility. And come back. Again, we're just going to do 3 for each exercise, each body part. And back to center. So those are 3 for the head. Next is your shoulder. This we have to release your hand. You're gonna roll your shoulder back. 2, 3. You're gonna roll your shoulder forward. 2 and 3. You're going to slide your shoulder blade up, and you're going to slide down. Slide that scapula. It's a floating bone. Slide back down. One more time. It's not really my shoulder, it's really my scapula, those shoulder blades. Then we're going to slide it forward. Then we're going to pull those shoulder blades back and pinch those scapula together. And then forward. And then bring it back. My arm is just dangling. It's my scapula that's moving and my arm following. Then you're going to stand up. And for your hips, you're sitting all day long, they get stiff and tight. You want to move your hips forward, like a bucket pouring forward, and then you're going to bring it back, tucking. So, arching and tucking. I'll think about pouring that bucket of water forward and pouring it back. Then your hip can go side to side, side to side. Side to side, side to side. We're going to put it all together. So forward and circle. And then reverse the circle. Excellent. I'm going to sit back down again. This time for the knee and hips, you're going to bring one leg up, and you can hold on to your leg, interlace your finger, and relax your feet. And you're going to move, think about swinging that ankle out to the side for internal rotation of the hip, and then swing it in for external rotation of the hip. And out and in, and out and in. Then we're going to do some circle. Feel all the muscle that's involved in doing this. When I bring my feet forward, I feel my quadricep, my front thigh. When I bring it out, I feel my outer hip and glutes. When I bring it back, I feel my hamstring, the back of the thigh, and then when I bring it in, I feel the inner thigh. I'm going to reverse it. Every movement we make, muscle have to lengthen and shorten, so they work together. Other side. I'm going to go in and out. It's when they don't work together, that's when we have this feeling of stuck or stiffness or inflexibility or immobility. And movement will hydrate those muscles and allow better communication with your central nervous system. So the mind-muscle connection. But tissue needs to be hydrated to have that communication, the blood flow. Next, we are going to finish off with your feet and your ankles and your wrists. This one I'm going to sit back so my legs are supported, and I'm going to bring my leg up, and I'm going to point my foot and flex my foot, and point and flex, and point and flex. Then I'm going to do some circle, and then reverse the circle. And you're going to notice a lot of people, their ankles are very stiff. And you're going to squeeze your toes and spread it. Squeeze and spread. Squeeze and spread. Let's try the other side. Point the foot and flex. Open up those tissues, the calves and the shin. Again, make sure you're breathing and lifting up the spine. Circle. And then we're going to reverse the circle. Okay. So having flexibility of your ankle, squeeze and spread, is so important to prevent falling. So you can break your fall. If your ankle is flexible, it can catch that quick loss of balance. Instead of falling fast and hard, you can actually break that fall when your ankles are flexible. Last of all is the wrist. We're just going to grab your forearm, the end of the wrist, with one hand and go side to side. Go up and down. And then do some circle. And reverse the circle. Let's try the other side. Go side to side. Up and down. We're just using our phone all day long, so we need to really get some blood flow in those wrists. Excellent. So these are just a quick joint and spinal exercises to get blood flow into those tissues so we don't get stiff and tight and cause injuries mainly. So I hope this is helpful to you, and you can replay this as many times as you want. If you can, and over time you're going to remember doing this without watching the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, Lisi@journeytofitness.com, and please share this video with family and friends if you find this helpful. Aloha.